Hello, Keith Rucker here at VintageMachinery.org, and today we're going to be working on the second part of the series on machining these dials for my Victor safe. And in the first episode we machined the back and got all this pretty much like it needs to be. Now we need to flip it around and start working on doing the profile on the front of this piece. And it's going to be somewhat of a challenge to mount this where we can hold it. It's not just a standard chuck it up in the lathe because the only place we can chuck on is this rim, and we're going to need to be doing some machining operations up there. So what I'm going to do is make a little fixture in the lathe here to mount this on. We're just going to make it out of a piece of round stock, and I'm actually going to face off the front of a piece of bar stock about, I guess it's probably 2.5 inches in diameter. This is 3 inches in diameter. That'll give me a good flat face to put this on. We're then going to drill and bore a hole out for this little indention here. So this will fit right up in there, and then drill a hole all the way through it. And I'm going to take a bolt, and since this is threaded in here, we'll use it as a drawbar and just draw that up against that flat face plate. But this is a unusual size thread. This is 7/16 28, I think. I'll have to double check that. I'm pretty sure that's right. And of course I don't have a bolt, anything threaded like that. So I think what I'm going to do is I got a 1/2 inch bolt. I'm going to turn these threads off down here on the bottom, and we'll single point thread those over here on the lathe to fit. And then once I get my bolt made, then I will know how long I need to cut my piece of stock that I will be using to make the fixture out of, and we'll go ahead and start working on that. So this video is probably going to be mostly about building the fixture, and then we'll probably come back and machine it all in a third video at a later date. So let's get going. So the first step I want to do here is make my drawbar that I'm going to use to tighten that up against this fixture, and I'm just using a 1/2 inch bolt, and I've cut the threads off of the end down here, and we're going to machine this down to 7/16 and then thread it, single point thread on the lathe to 28 threads per inch. So let's go ahead and chuck this up. And we'll get this turned down. I've got my lathe flat threading tool in here now. I've got my lathe set up for 28 threads per inch. We've got a thread gauge here, and what I'm going to do is just do a quick scratch test, make sure everything's running like it is, and we'll go ahead and cut these threads. Alright, we were running way too slow, so I got my speed back up here where I'm a little bit more comfortable. Go ahead and do the scratch test. And that looks good. like that.
Well, guys, I lost some audio on this episode because of a battery going dead in my wireless mic. So let me try to explain what I'm doing here. So we're going to take this piece of bar stock here, and on the back side we're going to face it out flat, and then bore a hole to fit the size of that little indentation there, and then we will turn the outside of the shaft there, so we'll have something to indicate on, and then use the drawbar going completely through the piece to draw that the brass dial up tight against there, and then we will use that as a turning fixture that we can take in and out of the 4-jaw chuck and indicate it back in line to get it back on there. So sorry about the sound loss. We're going to pick back up with sound again here in a little bit, but in the meantime I'm just going to blow through here and play some music for you guys. I've got a little boring bar set up here now, and we're just going to bore this out about a 1/2 inch deep, and just expand that hole up just big enough for this dial, this back plug on this dial here to fit up into. So I've got about 30 thousandths to take out of there, and we'll start fitting it up and getting a real good fit on there. All right, I'm pretty happy with what I got here now. So this is pretty well done. We just need to cut it off and get the length right on it. But as you can see, this piece here is just going to fit right up in there. We'll cut this off the length, that bolt to go through, and draw as we tighten. It'll pull this up flat against this piece back here, and then that'll give us something we can work off of to machine the front of this. We had a little run out on this. I'm not worried about that because I had this chucked up in the 4-jaw chuck, so you know, it probably wasn't running perfectly true because I didn't have anything to indicate off of. So that's perfectly fine, and we will, you know, but the rest of this part up here looked good, so we're gonna go with it. All right, so we cut this off the length over there on the bandsaw, and now what I want to do is just face the back of this and get this running true, and this little fixture will be all finished up. So this is all finished up now and ready to go. So again, we got a through hole through here that this bolt will go through, and you see the threads extend out. And remember, the threads also go down in there about a 1/4 inch deep. So I got about a 1/2 inch of thread there. This piece here fits right up into that hole, and we'll take the drawbar and tighten it up in the back. So I'll get a wrench and tighten this up down here in a minute, but you kind of see what we got going here. So now I can put this in the true 4-jaw chuck and indicate it in. And just a quick note, some of you guys have noticed that the chuck that I've been using over there is a 4-jaw, but that's a scroll chuck. It's like a 3-jaw chuck. All 4 jaws
move at the same time. So I get some run out with that chuck. It's not much, but there is some run out, and they're very similar to how you would with a regular 3-jaw chuck. I bought that chuck for doing turning square stock, but it's so much better than my regular 3-jaw chuck. I use it a lot just because it works so good. But anyway, we'll put the regular 4-jaw on there. We'll indicate this surface in, and get it running true, make sure the face is running true, and then we'll have something we can actually turn on here. I've installed the old fixture here back onto the lathe, and I've got my indicator hooked up to it, and it's in the 4-jaw chuck, and we've got it running pretty true. So it's running within less than a 1/2 thousandth of run out, so I'm very happy with that. So that's got the outside going, but the other thing that I want to make sure that we've got indicated in is this surface back here. Make sure that it's not wobbling back and forth. Ideally, I would indicate on the face of the piece here to see that, but because I have to mount this in here to put it into the lathe, I'd have to take it back out to put it back on. So what I'm going to have to do is indicate on the back side of this surface here, and to do that I'll use my inside hole attachment on the indicator. I have the hole attachment installed on the indicator, so there's a little clamp right here, and it basically clamps onto the barrel of the indicator. It goes out, and there's just a little pivot arm that will allow you to read the indicator. You can reach down inside of a hole with it. In this case, I got it running on the back side of that, and now when I turn the chuck, you can see I've got about 1/1000th of run out on the back side of that, which for what I'm doing, I think it's fine. I'm not going to fuss with it. We're going to go with it right there. So that'll wrap up this part of the series on making the new safe dial. We've got the fixture made, everything's indicated in, and we'll go ahead and start the next video on actually machining the front side of this. So as always, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, go back and watch the previous video, and we'll have another one coming up very shortly showing you finishing this job up.